Okay, so it's time to start snipping some wires. So let's just move this over, and in fact, I'm going to block it to make sure it doesn't tip over on us. I've got just a little wooden block with a nice felt pad, but you can use almost anything. And what we want to do first of all is size things. So start off by orienting everything correctly. So the switch goes on the side that the fan connector is. So that gets us oriented that way. And actually these are going to be a little bit sharp and in the road, so just bend those up a little bit gently. And actually that wire can just stand up in the air for the moment. We're going to get to it.
We'll bring these in. A little bit finicky, but...
Well, they're going to be a lot shorter in a minute. So, okay, so these wires, or the single
brown wire,
will come to the middle terminal right here on the IEC. So we're going to use that to size. Now, when you connect up wires, you never connect them up with no sweep in them. Or
you want a little bit of extra length on it. You don't want it tight.
So just get your chassis aligned roughly with the top plate and give it a nice little bend like that. You see how I've got a little sweep there? That's it. That's what we need.
And always snip just a touch longer than you think you need there too.
Well, actually in this case, because we're putting a connector on, we don't need to add any wire because
that's going to push it off a little bit.
It'll push it off. So that's good. And now let's do the hot leg. So you're going to be coming to this terminal right here, and again we want a nice sweep. So, and we want to keep everything sort of roughly aligned. So something like that is going to be good. We don't want it so long that
it's really getting in the way back there.
Yeah. So that's all cut. So
it's actually ended up almost the same length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's flexibility there, so you don't have to fuss about whether or not you have it perfect. So now that we've got the primary cut to length, let's do the secondary wires. The secondary is identical for everybody, and we're running the secondary in parallel. In fact, let me grab the schematic. So you can see here, there's the secondary, and we're paralleling both sections of the windings. So red goes to yellow, black goes to orange. So, and they're coming to either side of the blue junction here, the center blue junction. So
might be kind of hard to see that on screen. I'll angle it for you here.
So one will go here and one will go there. It doesn't matter which one goes where.
Except that they will be doubled up. So I think it was black and orange is one pair.
Black and orange.
Black and orange. So you'll have both these wires joined together at the end. And we'll show you how to do that in a second. And that's just going to go right into that left side terminal. Or the right, whatever works for you.
Okay, so let's start with the black and orange wires. And they're going to come in just like this. And they're going to sweep over. And what you want to do is try to get them parallel, even in the sweep. There's actually a black wire right there. It's hard to see. You see that? And it's just going to come in like this. And that's good. It's got a little sweep to it. And we're just going to get rid of that. That's done. Okay, so that leaves the yellow and the red wire. And that's going to come into this terminal right here, and the same thing. I've got a nice little sweep. It's hard
to see, unfortunately.
It's really hard to see.
There we go.
So what we're doing basically is we're cutting the wire to size as built. And doing that ensures that you get a nice, even fit that is correct.
And if there's ever a change in the length of wires or the materials or anything like that, you'll be able to adapt to it yourself rather than it causing problems if we give you exact lengths for everything.
Okay, well done everyone. Okay, so We're going to actually show the crimping differently for the high voltage region and the low voltage. So let's do the 120 volt AC region first with the pair of wires, and after we've done that we'll show you how to do a single wire, because they're slightly different. They're similar but slightly different. So the neutral wire is going to get a female connector, female spade connector put on it, and we're going to just do a standard strip with enough room to twist that wire together. And before we forget, grab a little length of the white shrink and just slide it on. And this is where, if you want, you can work a little more twist into your wire, but again, don't be fussed by that. Just slip that down. It's going to be a little snug, but you'll be able to work it. So we want to twist our individual wires into bundles, and then we're going to bring them together in a cross, like this, or like this. Actually, I like to turn that way. But they can be twisted either way. There's really no difference, I don't think. And this bundle here is just getting a little loose. And let me make sure it's on camera. You see how I've got them crossed before I twist them? And that's all there is to it. And if you've got a little nubbins at the end here, go ahead and just trim it off. Make sure you get that out of the build though. You don't want that anywhere near the build.
And not on the floor, because you don't want it in your sock either.
Are you speaking from experience, Charles?
Multiple experiences.
Okay, now crimping has to be done with the correct set of dies. So do not attempt this with the wrong die set. Don't use vice grips, don't use straight pliers. You will muck it up and then you'll be wondering what to do next. So stop if you don't have the right die and purchase it. We carry them in the store because they're a little hard to find. They're not expensive. So there's a 0.5, 1, and 1.5 millimeter squared die set, and it's always loaded the same way. You load on the side that doesn't have the lettering on it. We're going to use the biggest one, and you see how I've got it set. And we're going to slide a nice neat bundle of the wires in here like that, and it should just come through nicely. A little nubbins through the barrel is perfect. So go ahead and crimp that on, and then bring the crimper back a little bit like this. You see how I've slid it back a little bit? Because I want the whole thing to be crimped. So let's see how we did here. Now, if that wasn't tight, you could go down a die set, but it's on really nice. So I'm going to call that all good. And before I forget, I'm going to get that shrink, I'm just going to work that back up.
And if that shrink is too tight whenever you go to put it on and move it up like this, you can actually unwind those two wires just a little bit, and that'll help loosen it up.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead and shrink that on and we'll see you back in a minute. Okay, next we're going to do the hot leg. And the strip is exactly the same. I'll see you back in just a minute.
Oh, but make sure you get your red heat shrink on there first.
In fact, let's do it now before we forget.
It's always easier to put it on before you strip back the sheathing. Okay, see you back in a minute.
Okay, so I've got the strip in, I've got the wires twisted, and I'm going to bring them across each other again, just like I did before. Let me just get it on camera so you can see. There we go. I'm going to twist the pair together. It's really important that you get the pair of wires twisting around each other. You notice how I'm twisting them?
And not just one wrapping around the other, because that's going to come off really easily.
Yeah. But we're about to make sure it stays put. So go ahead and grab your ring terminal. And we're going to use the same method. We're going to put it in the same die set.
It's the 1.5 millimeter.
And we're just going to get it started. And we're just poking through nicely. It's really important to have that little poke through because wire will shrink as it gets crimped. So see how that, I don't know if you saw it on camera, but yeah. Now, notice how we did a really good job with the die here, but not further back. So we're actually going to move the crimper back again, like we did on the other connector, on the spade connector, and we're going to put a second crimp a little further back. And now, look at that. It's just perfect. You can test it to make sure it's not wiggling around. It shouldn't be. And then we're just going to sneak that bit of shrink over, like that.
And we'll shrink that down. We'll see you back here in a second.
Okay, now if you're in the higher voltage regions, I'm going to show you how to do the crimps with a single wire. It's just a little bit different because you don't have as much meat to crimp. So you actually want to strip back a double length because we're going to turn this wire back on itself, and that'll help fill the barrel of the connector.
And we're starting with the brown wire, which is the neutral, and this is going to have the spade connector on it.
So start off by twisting your bundle like this, and then go ahead and turn it back like this. It doesn't have to be precise, and go ahead and slip. Now I don't have an end on this wire, so I could put it on afterwards, but you won't be able to. So go ahead and slip your shrink on now before you forget.
Yeah, we really should have done that first before stripping.
Doesn't matter. It works either way. Okay, so go ahead and load. Notice how we're on this side of the crimper, there's no writing. And we've got it correctly in the 1.5 millimeter squared. And I've just started the crimp. And now we're going to put that nice turned back chunk of wire. And notice how the loop, can you see that on camera? Let me get it a little closer. You see how the loop is poking through? That's important because it will shrink a little bit or be pulled back after it's crimped. Now notice how I did a really good job crimping here, but not here. So we're actually going to come back and we're going to do a second crimp a little further back. Now normally that retaining tab is a strain relief, but there won't be anybody pulling on this wire, and what we want is as much electrical contact as possible. So that's, you can do a little test. That's just perfect. Let's pretend our shrink was on. And go ahead and shrink that down, and I'll see you back. Okay, so there's our neutral wire done. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the blue wire, with the hot leg. So do a double length strip. I think you know what you're doing by now, and I'll see you back in a minute.
Make sure you put the ring terminal on, and make sure you put on your heat shrink before you do the strip.
Okay. Let's pretend that we needed to put the shrink on, because we do. And yeah, okay. Hop to it, everyone. Okay, so I folded the wire back, just like I did on the neutral wire, and I'm going to load the ring terminal in the same die. So it's the first big die on the crimper, just like this. And I'm just going to get it started so it stays put. And make sure you don't have any stray wires. Just tuck them in if you need to. And the same thing, you're going to actually poke it through a little tiny bit like this, so that when it gets drawn back, it'll fit perfectly. And we're going to do exactly the same thing. You see how we did a perfect crimp on the front of the terminal? We're going to just draw it back a little bit, and we're going to go back a little bit, and sometimes you have to reposition things carefully. Just take your time. There we go, that's looking pretty good. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, it's absolutely perfect. We're going to do a tug test, but when you do a good crimp, you know right away. So you can see what happened with the 120 volt region. We had two wires, so we had a lot of bulk to crimp to. So there was no issue with actually, and they were twisted, with having some meat to actually crimp to. But without turning this wire back, it would be very hard to get it actually fully crimped properly. But with it turned back, it fits perfectly. Okay, so go ahead and shrink on the red, and yeah, and you're all done, and we'll be back to your regularly scheduled program.